The glitch in the old webcam. I'm a bit of a tech hoarder, especially when it comes to old gadgets. So when I found this bizarre, clunky webcam at a thrift store, it looked like something out of a 90s sci-fi movie, all boxy and metallic. I bought it on a whim. It had a long, thick USB cable despite its ancient appearance. Back home, I figured it wouldn't even work with my modern PC, but out of curiosity, I plugged it in. To my surprise, Windows recognized it instantly, and the default camera app popped open, showing a live feed. The image quality was terrible, grainy, and washed out, but it worked. I messed around with it for a bit, then tucked it away on a shelf. A few days later, I was experimenting with some old video editing software. I needed a quick video input, so I remembered the webcam and plugged it back in. The camera app opened again, but this time the feed wasn't showing my living room. It was showing my bedroom. And it looked wrong. The image was distorted, flickering with static, but I could clearly see my own bed. The covers were rumpled, exactly as I'd left them that morning. But the light was dim, like twilight, even though it was bright afternoon outside. And the room seemed subtly different, the shadows deeper, the air heavier. As I watched, a single, loose floorboard in the far corner of my digital bedroom creaked. My real bedroom had no loose floorboards. My heart hammered. I closed the app, unplugged the webcam, and told myself it was a software glitch or a driver issue. I restarted my PC. When I plugged the webcam back in, it showed my living room again, normal, grainy, and boring. I sighed with relief, but it started happening more frequently. I'd plug in the webcam, and sometimes it would show a weird, distorted feed of my apartment from an impossible angle, from inside a closed closet or looking down from the ceiling. The time of day in these feeds was always off, usually dim or dark, regardless of the actual time. It was like the camera was connected to another version of my apartment, existing on a different temporal plane. The truly terrifying part began when the feeds became live in a way they shouldn't have been. I'd plug it in and the feed might show my kitchen dark and silent. But then a cupboard door would slowly swing open. Or my kettle, which I'd left clean on the counter, would suddenly be filled with water, boiling faintly. It was showing events that were happening now in my apartment, but which I hadn't initiated and had no explanation for. The ultimate horror arrived one night. I plugged in the webcam, hoping for a normal feed, but instead it showed my living room. It was completely dark, save for the faint glow of my PC monitor. My chair was empty. And then a tall, impossibly thin, dark figure glided into the frame, moving from the hallway archway towards the center of the room. It was just a shadow, darker than the shadows around it, with no discernible features. It stopped directly in front of where my real chair was. And as I sat at my desk, paralyzed with terror, the figure in the grainy, flickering feed slowly, deliberately mirrored my exact movements. If I leaned closer to the screen, its head would tilt. If I lifted my hand to cover my mouth in horror, its arm would raise. It was perfectly, terrifyingly synchronized. It was me, or a dark parody of me, staring out from that impossible, shadowy feed. I screamed, ripping the webcam from the USB port. The screen went black. I threw the webcam across the room, smashing it against the wall. I didn't care. I immediately packed a bag and left the apartment. I never went back alone. I still don't know what that webcam was or what it was connected to, but the image of that silent, mirroring shadow lurking in a distorted reflection of my own home is burned into my mind forever.